is ending cash withdrawal
I read this
from some
article.
of its branches.
Yeah, I read this article. It's a little bit sensationalized because it makes a good point. A lot of people don't use the bank anymore. A lot of
Right.
people, it's like 13% of people actually go into the bank to use the bank. So it makes sense that they're closing branches and that they're not offering cash at certain branches and stuff. But
I think it's a step towards the attempt at a cashless society, and like pushing towards the kind of CBDC future CBDD
CDBC,
CBDC central bank
CBDC.
digital currency
Yeah.
future that they seem to be trying to push on us.
Yes and no. I mean, but you think about it, it's also supply and demand. Like, if you've got banks that used to do business a certain way and people are no longer using the banks for those ways, then they're going to pivot and change, right? And they're a big bank. So I agree because I think that that's what governments want to do, especially governments like Australia because they're just like Canada.
It's just very sketchy, the idea that you might not be able to get cash,
Yeah.
right?
But I think it opens up a different I think it might open up a whole other uh economy to this where people can now, like, you remember, I don't know if you remember back in the day that people used to buy bank machines a lot, those little private bank machines. They throw them outside of clubs and
Yeah.
in variety stores and
If
stuff
you
like
want to
that.
get cash, you pay a premium.
They kind of went dead. There used to be these different companies that did a lot of them and they were really popular back in the like late 90s, early 2000s and shit.
It was like a little side business someone
Oh,
could do, kind of like owning a
sometimes
vending
full
machine.
business because, like,
Well, if you had enough of them,
I
right?
know people that have owned them and they made tons of money on those things, but now they
Yeah,
just don't. They're just trying to get rid of them. But this might reopen that again
yeah,
because if the banks aren't offering cash,
that's true.
now you have a little companies coming out and saying, "Hey, well, we'll offer cash."
Yeah.
Sure,
But
you're
then
going
you
to
have
pay
to
a
pay
little.
for your cash, right?
Yeah,
Now it's
yeah.
inconvenient, more inconvenient anyway.
Well, is it
And
though? I don't know. I mean,
depends.
there is a definite convenience level to all of this, like to everything digital. I
Yeah,
mean, for me to just take my card and
there's a
tap it.
convenience, but like, it's a trade-off, right? Because now it gives them the possibility to do more in
Yeah.
terms of like taking control,
But there is
right?
there
Like
is
look what happened with the Freedom Convoy and
yeah.
our horrifying leader here in Canada. They just took the money right out of their bank accounts.
Yeah. They froze
People
everything.
people
They
donated money. Like, I want this person to have this money. They did it legitimately, legally, and they're just like, yeah, no, we're gonna take your money.
yeah.
So that begs the question of like, man, should people be a lot heavier in cash, physical cash,
Mm.
right? Because I mean, they couldn't have done that
Mhm.
if they had cash. They would have had to like physically raid them.
I agree. But there's also a safety to digital. Like, so for example, I always tell people use your credit card for everything. Don't use
Yeah,
debit ever.
but that's just because they offer that
Well,
ability.
it's because you have security there. If
But
anybody
but
if anybody compromises
if
it,
the credit card provider didn't offer that, it would
yeah.
just be the same.
Well, sure, yeah.
Yeah,
But
but because they offer that,
yeah.
you have the convenience
Yeah,
of that.
and you get all kinds of extra things, like sometimes you'll have 1% cash back, 2% cash back, you'll have aeroplane miles, whatever. There's all kinds of different incentives to use the credit card.
Yeah,
But the major incentive is that nobody, it doesn't matter if somebody hacks that shit. Go ahead and steal my credit card. I don't give a shit. I just say I didn't do this, and those are reversed. I
yeah,
get a new credit card in the mail 2, 3 days later, yeah, I'm gold. But your debit card, good luck getting your money back if somebody drains your account.
yeah,
It just doesn't. You're fucked. Like, you might get it back, but you're gonna have to jump through 17,000 hoops before you
yeah,
do. So I understand on that end why people this would be, these kinds of things would be very alluring, but then there's the nefarious angle that
right.
governments
No
and
more cash.
they can
Everything's
control you,
digital. They
control your
can
money.
control everything. They can see everything.
Yep,
See all of the transfers.
yep. Just
Um,
if I don't like the way you're spending money, well, guess what? I just take your money
yeah,
or freeze your money.
yeah. That was who said that. Who's the rich guy that ran for president? That wasn't Trump. That was like the other billionaire for the
Oh,
Democrats.
Bloomberg.
Bloomberg. Bloomberg. He said something along the lines of like poor people like poor people should have their financial decisions made for them because they don't know the right way to do it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yes.
I'm surprised he wasn't elected.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah, because these poor people are obviously stupid, and they would just vote for
Obviously.
him.
Obviously.
Yeah. Thank you, Bloomberg, for telling me how to live. You fucking piece of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it is scary. It's sort of like the infancy of this, and we'll see if this is. But
True amounts to anything.
it did read a little sensationalistic, like the title versus what the actual article was about.
Mhm.
Um, but and there's a major decline. It does mention this about major decline in cash transactions, and ever since COVID too, right? People were cashless. You
A
know,
lot of lunatics.
yeah. Well, there is I saw this good video somebody put out about cash versus digital, like anything digital, like as far as credit cards, using your debit, hey, that kind of stuff. That because of service fees, and all that kind of stuff, your money will that money that you're spending. Let's say it's $100 after say 30 transactions, that's no longer $100. It's actually gone because it's
Right.
gone to different transactions. You lost a piece, someone else lost a piece, this retailer lost a piece, and eventually it ends up being the banks. But that $100, if you took $100 bill and you spend it in various different places, it's still $100 at the end of the day,
Right.
right? So it doesn't you know erode in fees. So there's definitely
Yeah.
that to think about when we're talking about cashless societies and the
Mhm.
convenience of that. I'm guilty of it myself. You're
Mhm.
probably guilty of it too.
Mhm.
I use my credit card for just about everything.
Yeah.
I get a 1% cash back, and I like my $1,000 at the end of the year or the start of the year, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.